Hello and welcome inside Simon Scott Assembly Hall on the campus of Indiana University in Bloomington, where the IU Hoosiers are getting set to take on the Northwestern Wildcats in a must-win game as the regular season draws to a close. Alongside Luke Brenneman, I'm Nick Rodecap with you on this Tuesday night. Thanks so much for joining us. Luke, this is an Indiana team coming off a very tough stretch, back-to-back blowout losses by 20 or more points. This Northwestern team has won 5 games in a row against Indiana. They're not having a great year, but it kind of feels like the visitors are playing with house money here tonight.
Yeah, you took the words out of my mouth, Nick. You have one team playing with nothing to lose in Northwestern. 3-13 in the league, a season with a lot of freshmen playing, a lot of injuries coming into this year. Chris Collins, their head coach, couldn't really figure out the portal in time to really be competitive inside the Big Ten, like Northwestern has surprisingly been the past couple of seasons. For IU, say 40-50% capacity crowd tonight, but this is a game they have to win, Nick. This is a team right on the NCAA tournament bubble, and the reason they're still on it, they do not have a quad 2 or worse loss if the season ended today. Tonight, a quad 3 opponent in Northwestern. They're 11-16 on the season. This is a must-win game for Indiana.
Northwestern enters this game after a close 78-74 win over the Maryland Terrapins at home, in which Nick Martinelli and Jordan Clayton combined for 49 points. That was one of Northwestern's best all-around performances of the season. The problem for the Wildcats this year has been winning on the road in the Big Ten. They've only done so one time, and that was against Penn State, a team that is going to finish at or near the bottom of the conference standings. On the other side, for Indiana, we mentioned back-to-back blowout losses. Back on Friday, Indiana suffered its worst loss to Purdue since 1969, 93-64 the final. The Boilers shot 65% from the floor, which is a record under current head coach Matt Painter. That loss pushed Indiana out of the NCAA tournament field, according to CBS Bracketology. No matter how you slice it, they are right on the bubble, and you would like an upset win against Michigan State. That would certainly solidify your chances of getting into the NCAA tournament, but that comes with the caveat that you also have to handle business tonight against Northwestern and then later on the season against Minnesota and Ohio State. And it seems like none of those are givens, given how the Big Ten has been this year.
Absolutely. I think it's favorable for IU that 3 of the 4 games are at home in this building. But I think all Indiana fans are looking ahead to that final Saturday of the season in Columbus. Ohio State and Indiana in different bracketology pools. One team is in, and on the other hand, the other team is out, depending on who the team is that's selected. So that game's going to hold a lot of magnitude. But, Nick, you said it before we went on the air. A 1,000,000-mile journey starts with the first step, and right now it's beating the NU Wildcats because although they've had a struggle-some year, Indiana has lost their last 2 games by 49 combined points. So a get-right game, a chance at home, light up the scoreboard, get some momentum. You got a couple off days before you need the Hull rocking on Sunday against Tom Izzo and the Spartans of Michigan State.
We'll give you the lineups first for the visiting Northwestern Wildcats, 11-16 on the season, led by head coach Chris Collins. Starting at guard, a 6'3 freshman, one of many freshmen on this Northwestern team. From Philadelphia, Jake West had a career-high 3 steals against Maryland. Also at guard, a 5'10 freshman, a transfer from South Florida, Jaden Reed. Tyler Kropp, a 6'9 freshman out of Powell, Ohio. The Big Ten's leading scorer, Nick Martinelli, a 6'7 senior out of Glenview, Illinois. And also at forward for Northwestern, a 6'8 freshman out of Jeffersonville, Indiana, part of that Jeffersonville team that took down undefeated Fishers in the state championship game last year. Number 8, Trey Singleton. For Indiana, the usual 5 starters out there. Lamar Wilkerson, a 6'6 senior guard out of Ashdown, Arkansas, alongside a 6'1 redshirt senior guard, number 5, Connor Enright, the Drake and DePaul transfer at his 3rd school in 5 years. And at forward, a 6'9 senior out of Apopka, Florida, Sam Alexis, a national champion a year ago. A 6'7 wing, Nick Dorn, who has struggled over his last 5 games, looking to break a 4-for-30 slump. And a 6'7 redshirt senior forward, Tucker DeVries, out of Waukee, Iowa. Sam Alexis and Trey Singleton getting set to jump center here at Assembly Hall. A late arriving student section crowd. Darren DeVries sent an email to the students yesterday saying, hey, we need your support for these final 4 games, perhaps taking a page out of Curt Cignetti's playbook when he told the kids to study later before Indiana football played Maryland last year. Although I don't think the students have responded to email number 2 quite as well. The lower part of the student section not quite full just yet. We are waiting for TV. 7 o'clock on the nose. This game televised on Fox Sports 1. They've still got the portable lights and the camera crew out on the floor. Alexis and Singleton are ready to go. Indiana in its home white uniforms, red numerals, letters, and trim. Northwestern in its purple uniforms with white numerals, letters, and trim. A very good contrast of colors here at Simon Skjodt Assembly Hall on this Tuesday night, as Indiana looks to make a push for an at-large bid to the NCAA tournament.
The start tonight's key, Nick. Ready to go, ready to tip it off. But Indiana started in West Lafayette. 4 of 13 from the field with 4 turnovers in the first 8 minutes of that game, and they were knocked out in the first 10 minutes.
Indiana's offensive rhythm was nowhere to be found early on in that game, and they got themselves down very early. Singleton and Alexis in the center circle. The ball is in the air. The tip is controlled by Indiana, and we are underway from Assembly Hall. Between the circles on the left wing, it's Connor Enright who handles first for the Hoosiers. Harassed near the center circle. Enright now dribbles to his left. Lamar Wilkerson gets the feed there near the corner. Wilkerson backing out with 14 seconds on the shot clock. Gives it off to DeVries, dead center. Wilkerson gets it back on a handoff now with 9 seconds to shoot. Dribbles behind his back, almost lost the ball. Gets it off right wing to Nick Dorn. Extra pass to the far corner where Enright airballs a 3. Tucker DeVries there underneath for the rebound. Nice pass underneath, unfortunately for him, because Enright airballed the 3. The shot clock did not reset, and Indiana turns it over. A shot clock violation on its first possession.
It's interesting how that works, Nick. Sometimes I feel like this Assembly Hall environment and these restless crowds at the end of the year can almost put even added pressure on the IU players when they're supposed to be playing with home court advantage.
Northwestern with the ball in the forecourt. Its first possession of the game. 45 seconds gone. We're scoreless here at Assembly Hall. Jake West up top now. Jaden Reed picked up by Connor Enright as Northwestern looks to take an early lead. On the right wing, it's Nick Martinelli, who averages over 22 points per game. He is one to watch here tonight. Reed back to Martinelli. 2 seconds to shoot. Martinelli hoists a 3, misses it short, and Connor Enright is there for the rebound. Good defense by Indiana. Back up the floor comes Tucker DeVries for Indiana. Spins to the left elbow, and back up top it goes to Enright, dribbling on the IU logo at center court. Enright guarded by Jaden Reed as Nick Dorn flashes open up top. Instead it goes inside the arc to Sam Alexis. Right wing now DeVries. Hasn't put it on the floor. Wants a screen from Alexis. DeVries holds the ball high over his head. Now bounces it between the circles with 5 seconds on the shot clock. Enright dribbling right. Around a screen from Alexis. Indiana's got to shoot. Wilkerson from Martinsville knocks it down. And Indiana takes a 3-0 lead 90 seconds into this game.
Wilkerson turns to the bench. He says, let's get this party started. That was a lackadaisical possession, and he bailed him out with a deep bomb at the end of the clock.
Tyler Kropp, the 6'9" freshman, handles just right of center. Now to the near corner, it's Jake West dribbling around a screen. Back to Kropp inside the right block. In the lane, misses the right-handed layup. Alexis down with the rebound for Indiana. 2 minutes gone. Hoosiers with a 3-0 lead. Nick Dorn misses the 3-ball short. Now 4 of his last 31 from the floor is Nick Dorn. Northwestern pushes the pace quickly up the floor. It's Martinelli in the far corner, picked up by Tucker DeVries. Martinelli at the left elbow, cross-court pass. Trey Singleton, the freshman, is wide open, and he buries a 3-ball from there as the Jeffersonville native ties us at 3 with 17:40 to go in the first half.
Seems like a lot of Nick Dorn's issue has been finding an impact on the basketball game, Nick, when he's not scoring, and he just hasn't been there.
Enright heaves a cross-court pass to Dorn in the near corner, and this time Dorn knocks it down, giving Indiana a 6-3 lead with 17:24 to go. And Luke, that is big as Dorn tries to break out of this multi-game slump that he's in.
Darren DeVries continues to start him, Nick. Now he's got to start delivering. That's a good start to this one. A 3-ball within the first 3 minutes of the first half.
Kropp at the top of the key, hands it off to Jaden Reed just inside the arc. Now Reed backs out, looking for a screen from Singleton. He uses it on the left wing, but does not shoot. Up top now Martinelli, 7 seconds to shoot. Northwestern late into the shot clock. Near corner it's West, back to Martinelli on the right wing. 3-ball on the way is long. Rebound fought for, tipped out of bounds. Last touched by Indiana. And Luke, with the clock stopped, Indiana leading 6-3, 16:54 to go in this first half. It seems like Northwestern is having a lot of trouble finding open looks early in the shot clock.
Well, that's what they do. They're guard heavy, and Martinelli scores all their points at 6'7" as his forward position. They're not very big. They can't beat you in the paint. This is a team that really has to grind to score.
Jaden Reed dribbles right past Tucker DeVries and lays it up and in with the left hand. A nice move there by Reed as Northwestern inches closer at 6'5".
Indiana's going to have to play much better team defense than that. You're going to get beat one-on-one at this level by just any prolific scoring guard. Reed's a better shooter and distributor than true scorer. That was way too easy.
Indiana looking to extend its 1-point lead, 16.5 to go in this first half. Nick Dorn made a three on Indiana's last possession. Here he dribbles to the right elbow, lost the handle, but gives it up to Connor Enright. 5 seconds to shoot for Enright. Heaves it inside to Dorn. Underneath, Nick Dorn tried to split 2 defenders. He was fouled in the act of shooting. A nice job there by Dorn of getting into the paint and drawing contact. He'll go to the free throw line.
I like the confidence. Right as he catched it, he rose, Nick, and that's what drew the foul. If he brought the ball around his ankle shin area, it would have got taken away, or he would have had to make an athletic pass as he caught it into the double team. He absorbed the contact and went straight up, and now he's got a pair.
Dorn at the free throw line shooting 2. He knocks down the first. Indiana leads 7-5, 16-15 to go in this first half. Alexis to the bench. Reed Bailey gets his first minutes of this game.
A matchup to look out for the Indiana offense. Their prolific scorer in Lamar Wilkerson is currently being guarded in man-to-man by the Northwestern freshman Jake West. That is a true freshman Jake West. And Nick, West has a lot of game and he's a heck of a passer, but you can see it from Section K. He kind of looks like a high schooler out there compared to the second leading scorer in the Big Ten Conference.
Dorn made both free throws. Indiana leads 8-5. Northwestern with the ball in the forecourt. 16 minutes to go in this first half. Up top, it's Jaden Reed, bounces right elbow and gets it back on a give and go. Reed behind the back dribble to the right block to the free throw line where Martinelli misses the push shot. Nick Dorn all alone for the rebound. Hoosiers leading 8-5, 15:50 to go. Tucker DeVries on the left wing, fakes a three, drives inside, floats it up, no good. Rebounded by Angelo Cheravino, the sophomore from Chicago, in off the bench. Jaden Reed, right wing to West, now into the corner for Cheravino. Dribbles into the paint on the right side, back to Martinelli on the block, and nothing but net as Nick Martinelli picks up his first 2 points of the game. It's 8-7 with 15.5 to go.
Those 4 to 8 foot floaters, Nick, you called it a push shot. That's more what it looks like. There's not much arc in it. That's Martinelli's game. He can rise above the defense, find the soft spot, and get it off.
The lane is wide open. Connor Enright bounces on the right side, down low to Reed Bailey. Unfortunately, the ball was going the opposite direction of Bailey. Indiana turns it over out of bounds on the baseline, and that takes us to our first media timeout of this game. 15:16 to go first half. Indiana leads Northwestern 8-7. You're listening to Indiana Basketball on WIUX, your home for Hoosier Sports. Welcome back to Simon Scott Assembly Hall. Indiana leads Northwestern 8-7 with 15:16 to go in the first half. Alongside Luke Brenneman, I'm Nick Rodecap. Luke, Nick Dorn has 5 of Indiana's 8 points. We talked about how he's been slumping as of late. Really good to see him confident shooting as Indiana comes back home because he's going to be so important for them down the stretch this season.
Absolutely, Nick. And when Indiana went on their conference play winning streak, whether it was Purdue here, kind of the Dorn coming out party, and then he parlayed that into a monster first half against UCLA on the road. That was a huge win for Indiana. He was the catalyst. He was the third guy. We've had DeVries all year. There's been Wilkerson over 28 points per game all season long. Dorn is the guy that makes Indiana go, and when he does nothing, it's really that non-factor presence that's hurting Indiana because it feels like sometimes when he's not making shots, they're playing 4-on-5. He has to still find more ways to impact the game, and it starts on this end right here.
Northwestern with the ball in the front court out of the TV timeout, and an easy 2 for Angelo Cheravino, left all alone underneath the basket. The Wildcats take a 9-8 lead with 15 minutes to go until halftime. Tayton Connerway gets his first run of this game, holds the ball high over his head on the right wing, picked up there by Jaden Reed. Connerway in trouble, now gives it up to Reed Bailey on the far side wing. Lamar Wilkerson open in the near corner, makes another 3, and Indiana takes the lead right back as Wilkerson has hit a pair of trays. Hoosiers leading 11-9, 14:35 to go in this first half. Some full court pressure applied by Connerway as Jaden Reed brings it across the timeline for Northwestern. Reed bouncing, now picks up the dribble well out near midcourt. Gives it up to Martinelli. Now Reed gets it back all the way to the right block. Kick, extra pass to the left side wing for Jordan Clayton. Now up top, Arrington Page bluffs a 3, dribbles to the right elbow. 4 seconds to shoot for Page. Overhead pass to the far side wing. Cheravino has to hoist from there. His 3-ball too strong. And the loose ball rebound corralled by Lamar Wilkerson for Indiana. Wilkerson up the floor, gets a hard screen from Bailey, kills the dribble on the right edge, and back up top, it goes to Tayton Connerway. Hoosiers leading by 2, 14 minutes to go first half. Underneath the basket, Connerway tried to find Dorn in the near corner. Pass deflected out of bounds by Northwestern, so Indiana will inbound on the baseline to our left.
Connerway's got to go up with that, Nick. I mean, he drove right down the lane, was never touched, and then passed it on the baseline.
Connerway inbounding on the right side of that baseline now. 16 seconds on the shot clock. Tucker DeVries gets the inbound feed. Up top it goes to Reed Bailey. Now on the right wing, Wilkerson picked up by Martinelli. Back to Bailey on the right block. Puts it up with the right hand, no. But he was fouled by Jaden Reed, who has his palms skyward as if to say, what? That's a foul? But apparently the referees think so.
That's a 5'10", 170-pound Jaden Reed, and I was down on the courtside pregame. 5'10" is generous, Nick. I'm around 5'8", 5'9". He was right around my height, and for Reed Bailey to shy away from the contact, he push-shotted it, kind of got bailed out by the foul, and airballed the rim from 2 feet. Indiana's looking for Bailey to be more physical, absorb the contact, use it to your advantage, run through a guy like that in the lane, and then make it.
Bailey makes 1 of 2 at the free throw line. Indiana now leading 12-9, 13:43 and counting to go until halftime. Up the floor with it is Jake West, picked up by Tatum Connerway as he crosses the timeline. West on the right wing now gets a screen, dribbles to the top of the key. Bounces low post right to Arrington Page, who is fouled by Tucker DeVries. And DeVries, it's his turn to look at the video board. A couple questionable whistles on back-to-back possessions here.
DeVries was leaning on him before Page put the ball on the deck as his first dribble. And I think it was a foul. The whistle just came a little bit late, so no one understood that DeVries had already pushed Page.
West inbounds baseline left, gets it into Page on the right block. Page picked up by the 6'10" Reed Bailey, dribbles to the block, spins on his left foot, airballs a right-handed layup, and it's out of bounds. The officials say off Indiana. From our vantage point, Luke, it looked like that was off Northwestern.
I think the whole Indiana bench agrees with you. There were a couple fingertips in there. It looked like Martinelli was the one who actually pushed the ball out of bounds, but nonetheless, another trip offensively now for the Wildcats.
And into the far corner, it comes into Page, trying to dribble around Bailey through 2 defenders. Page puts it off the glass and in with the right hand.
So immediately after Bailey gets out-physicaled in the lane by Page, Alexis up off the bench, Darren DeVries disgusted. You can't play at this level if you're not physical on the inside.
Tatum Connerway throws it into the near corner. Lamar Wilkerson once again knocks down the 3-ball. And Wilkerson up to 9 points. He's made his first 3 3-point baskets. 15-11 the Indiana lead, 12:52 to go in this first half. Right wing outside the arc, it's Page, picked up by Bailey. Page dribbles with the right hand down to the right baseline, trying to get into the lane. Page backing down his man, spins, fires, and hits again. Arrington Page with 4 straight points for Northwestern, picking on Reed Bailey. The Wildcats have cut it back to a 2-point game.
That time, Bailey did a solid job. He held his ground. Page had to stop and fade away. That's just a tough jumper.
Connerway dribbles underneath the basket and throws it out of bounds. Last touch by Northwestern's Jordan Clayton. That's the second time already we've seen Connerway try to take it underneath the basket, pass to the corner, and have the pass deflected.
Connerway as a guard is much more of a slasher and facilitator than a three-point shooter. He's getting to the lane. He's done the hard part. He's gotten inside. Go up, draw contact, get to the free throw line. Kind of tired of these passing around people. That one was risky.
Indiana inbounds as Connerway gives it up to Tucker DeVries up top. Now Connerway gets it back, 10 seconds to shoot for Tatum. At the top of the key, overhead pass, ill-advised, but grabbed on a deflection by Miles. Far side wing, Wilkerson cannot be stopped. Lamar Wilkerson with 12 of Indiana's 18 points, and the Hoosiers lead by 5 with 12 minutes to go until halftime.
He has not missed.
And now Northwestern needs an answer. It's Arrington Page up top. Here's West driving right wing into a double team, and he traveled. Great defense by Indiana as the Wildcats turn it over, and that takes us to the under 12 timeout here at Assembly Hall. Hoosiers 18, Northwestern 13, 11:52 to go until the break. You're listening to Indiana Basketball on WIUX, your home for Hoosier Sports. Back to Assembly Hall here in Bloomington. Indiana leads Northwestern 18-13, 11:52 to go until the break. Alongside Luke Brenneman, I'm Nick Rodercap. Luke, Lamar Wilkerson only had 2 points in the first half of Indiana's blowout loss at Purdue on Friday, but he is on fire to start this one. 12 points on a perfect 4 of 4 shooting from deep, and he just looks so confident once again.
2 of the 4 3-pointers, Nick, were good offense. He was left open. Indiana found him in the corners. He nailed it. The other 2 is just stuff that when you've watched Indiana basketball for a long time, like a lot of the faithful here at Assembly Hall have repeatedly rolled over season tickets through generations. Indiana has been missing a scoring guard and specifically a shooting guard like Wilkerson for a long, long time. I mean, he hits jump shots that the defense is standing right in his face, and they turn to their coach with their shoulders shrugged saying, what else do you want me to do? And he's done that twice out of the 4 he's hit. He has not missed. The Northwestern game going in, I didn't want to say it in the open, it does kind of feel like an Oregon spot a couple weeks ago. A chance to get it home, get some momentum. The Oregon game was to increase momentum, but get some momentum, kind of get back. And Wilkerson filled it up. He almost set the Assembly Hall scoring record in that game. He went off for 40-plus, and a fantastic start here. Indiana up by 5. They got to play better defense, and I would like to see them run a little bit more in transition. They've had some opportunities.
Lamar Wilkerson leads the Big Ten, averaging 23.9 points per game in conference play. Indiana with the ball in the forecourt, looking to extend its 5-point lead. 11:40 to go until the break. Here is Wilkerson, drives into the lane, puts it up with the right hand, and gets the finger roll to go.
3-level scorer.
And Wilkerson now with a game-high 14 points. He is outscoring Northwestern by 1. Northwestern nearly turns it over in the front court. Angelo Cheravino picks up the loose ball. And on the right wing, it's Clayton, picked up by Wilkerson. Back up to the top, the sophomore Cheravino, picked up by Josiah Miles. Right wing now, Arrington Page. Back to the top, they rotate to the far side wing. Trey Singleton leaves the 3-ball short. And the rebound loose on the floor. Multiple bodies hit the hardwood. And Northwestern comes away with it after multiple deflections. 17 seconds to operate now for the Wildcats. On the right edge, it's West. Back to the top for Arrington Page. Underneath, a pass into traffic, deflected, but a foul on the floor. And once again, these whistles, I don't really see a lot there, Luke.
Yeah, at least it's consistent. It's very ticky-tacky, but I think it's gone both ways. Northwestern 4 team fouls, Indiana 4 team fouls, so the whistle hasn't been overbearing. But yeah, they're not really letting them play tonight. I think that's to Northwestern's advantage. They're very guard-heavy, and they're thin.
Page inside the arc into a double team. Martinelli shakes his defender. And hard contact with Tucker DeVries as he hits the deck. It's an offensive foul on Nick Martinelli, and that one, I mean, I understand trying to get a little bit of a bump, but he just shoved DeVries to the floor right there.
Oh, you got to look at this one, but I don't know. I think it's kind of a hook where you take your elbow and you get it around their back where you can just send them to the floor. DeVries, he really got under Martinelli's skin. Indiana's done a fantastic job guarding Nick Martinelli so far.
Indiana with the ball and a 7-point lead. Tucker DeVries on the right edge, knocks down the 3-ball, and the Hoosiers lead by 10 with 10.5 to go in this first half. This is exactly the start that they needed. Angelo Cheravino and Northwestern trying to answer now. 23-13 our score. The Wildcats very stagnant. Sam Alexis with active hands almost forces a turnover. Martinelli grabs the loose ball, spins into the lane, misses a left-handed floater, and Alexis there for the board for Indiana. Connerway pushes the pace in transition. Up top, it's DeVries. Thinks about a 3 from Ellettsville. Now pulls up from Bloomington. Misses it short from dead on. And with 10 minutes to go, Northwestern back the other way, trailing 23-13. Jake West dribbling around Tate and Connerway. Give and go with Martinelli into the lane. Martinelli shoved from behind. And the 22-point-per-game scorer heads to the stripe with a chance for 2.
Good look there from DeVries. I like when Indiana plays with the momentum. I think that's when they've been at their best. And I still firmly believe that Darren DeVries' team is trying to figure out who they are. Some nights they shoot 44 times from beyond the arc, and they're a team that's going to live and die by the 3. And then other nights they only shot it like Purdue 8 times in the first half from 3, and they shot it 22 times in the game, so they got going eventually. But who do you want to be? You got to stay consistent. You want to diversify what you do. I like the look there from DeVries. The defense has really tightened up. And hey, in a conference like the Big Ten, you have the leading scorer coming into your home house. Nick Martinelli, he only has 2 points right now, and he's 1 for 5, Nick.
Martinelli missed his first free throw. The second one on the way is flush, so no free fries for the IU faithful. Indiana with the ball, leading 23-14 after Martinelli makes the foul shot. 9:45 to go in this first half. Connor Enright back into the game along with Trent Sisley, who gets his first minutes. Sisley has played single-digit minutes in 5 consecutive games for Indiana. Enright back to Wilkerson, 13 to shoot. Wilkerson picked up by the much taller Nick Martinelli. Wilkerson into the lane, into a double team, pivots on his left foot, 8 seconds to shoot, shovels it off to Sisley on the left edge, and now up top it's Enright. 3 seconds to shoot. Enright to Alexis. Push shot in the lane is pure for Sam Alexis. Indiana 6 of its last 7 from the floor, while Northwestern hasn't scored in over 3 minutes. Here comes Jake West, and Northwestern trying to answer, trailing 25-14. 9:10 to go in this first half as West knocks down a dead-on 3 to stop that 3-minute scoring drought.
Jake West is going to be a player, Nick. He can move the ball, a really high recruit out of Philadelphia, getting some serious run as a freshman that maybe he didn't even think he would get with his struggling Wildcats, and he's performed.
Alexis in the lane, extra pass to the corner. Josiah Miles, it's his turn to knock down a three. Miles only 22% from deep on the season, but he hits the tray, and Indiana leads by 11 with 8:40 to go.
Nick, it's moments like this where I need to hear Assembly Hall. You got to get on your feet. This team's scoring. They're up by double digits. It's still kind of dead in here, and it's frustrating. Martinelli
backing down Alexis on the right block, spins, puts it up with the left hand, and answers right away for Northwestern. Wildcats deficit back down to 9 with 8:20 to go. And to your point, Luke, you'd think after a three from Josiah Miles, the fans would be on their feet. The only ones standing are the students right now. Enright trying to take Martinelli off the dribble, cut off on the baseline. The pass up top to Alexis is deflected and last touched by Indiana. So another live ball turnover. The ball security really not there early in this one.
No, Northwestern will turn you over, though. This is a team in their most recent game, a win over Maryland. They had 12 steals as a team. They average teams that they play against to turn it over 11 times per game. And Northwestern offensively, they don't turn the ball over. So I look at this team and I see the talent on the roster. You got to give it up to Chris Collins that they even have 3 wins in the league. They're extremely well coached. They're disciplined. They pass the ball as one of the top 30 teams in the country. They have to get everyone touches to score the ball, and they don't turn it over. So they do the little things right. They're just not excelling in anything in particular.
Northwestern with the ball in the forecourt, trailing by 9. 8 minutes to go in this first half. Martinelli working on Bailey on the right edge. Dribbles into the block, spinning, can't get anything. Back up top, Sheravino shovels it straight away to Jaden Reed. 7 seconds to shoot for Jaden Reed and Northwestern. He gets a screen from Martinelli, who wants the ball. Reed now inside the free throw line. As the shot clock ticks down, Reed misses everything, and that is a shot clock violation to take us to the under 8 timeout of this first half. 7:40 to go until the break. 28-19, the Indiana lead over Northwestern. You're listening to Indiana men's basketball on WIUX. Welcome back to Simon Scott Assembly Hall, where Indiana leads Northwestern 28-19. 7:40 to go until the break. And Luke, Indiana, back-to-back 20-point losses. They were due for a get-right game, and, well, 7 of your last 8 from the floor. 3s are falling. It seems like things are going okay for the Hoosiers after some ugly showings on the road.
Absolutely. Anytime you're close to 30 points with around 8 minutes left in the first half, your offense has arrived in a conference like this with the physicality and defense, especially against a Chris Collins team. Northwestern has always been rooted defensively. I mean, you'll start looking at the stats. I took a deep dive. They're 48-5 the last 4 seasons under Chris Collins when they hold opponents below 65 points. So the fact that they have done that over 50 times is a testament to how well they guard you, and that's how they want to beat you. The issue with the Wildcats this year is they just really haven't the offense to go with the Chris Collins defense and no true second scorer behind Martinelli. They've done a really solid job on Martinelli. I wouldn't be surprised if the Big Ten's leading scorer gets going at some point, so always got to be prepared for that, but continue to guard defensively, and the shot making will come right along with it.
Indiana bringing it the length of the floor out of the TV timeout. 28-19 our score, 7.5 to go until the break. In the front court, it's Connerway driving into the lane all the way to the hoop with the right hand, count it, and the foul. Luke, you wanted Tatum Connerway to take it all the way to the hole. Right there he did, and he got the N1.
Well, that's what Tatum Connerway does. In the transfer portal, I think that fans of players like Connerway who are older and more experienced, Connerway a senior guard, he transferred from Troy. And he was the Sun Belt Player of the Year, averaged over 14 points per game, would move the ball, he'd rebound, he'd steal the ball, but he was a slasher. He was a gritty player. He'd get to the line. Don't change your style of a play. He fell in love with the three-point jump shot his first couple weeks in Bloomington. He's got to get to the rim because the rest of the Indiana guards are primarily shooters.
Jaden Reed, one of Northwestern's starters, now on the bench as he picks up his second foul. Wildcats with the ball in the front court, trailing 31-19. Nick Martinelli harassed now by Reed Bailey after Tucker DeVries was guarding him earlier in the game. Jordan Clayton across the top of the key to Trey Singleton, who drives into a double team, kicks to the corner where West fakes a three, gets open, and drills one from the right wing. Jake West, nice job creating separation as he knocks the deficit down to single digits. West, a true freshman, but Luke, you can tell he's going to be a guy that Northwestern's going to love for a long time to come.
Yeah, it was a big commitment for them to get him. This is a very popular name in the EYBL circuit coming out of high school.
DeVries backing into the lane. Up top, it's Enright, who shovels it off left side to Connerway. 8 seconds to shoot for Tatum Connerway at the top of the key. Takes Martinelli off the dribble, puts it up too strong. It was blocked by Trey Singleton, but the officials say that's goaltending. because the ball was on its way down. So count the layup for Connerway.
Back-to-back successful trips. Connerway getting to the rack. The first time he finishes, gets the and one with contact, so he gets to the line and makes it. This time kind of bailed out on a difficult shot. I think Singleton could have blocked it without having to goaltend, but he was a little bit too late, and Indiana will take another deuce.
Northwestern in the front court trailing 33-22, 6:23 to go in this first half. Martinelli to the right side for Sheravino, and now back on the right block, Martinelli. Mismatch there with Nick Dorn. Up top, Sheravino fakes a three, drives into the lane all the way to the hole, and he lays it in with the right hand. Nice finish there by Sheravino.
He took off from about the free throw line and just floated in the air. Stayed calm, relaxed, and laid it in with ease. He's an athlete.
Nick Dorn in the near corner tries to answer and does so as he knocks down another three. That's a great sight to see for Nick Dorn, who now has 8 points.
That's what I'm talking about, Nick. Indiana with 11 threes, still 6 minutes to go in the first half. Are you a team that's going to spray threes, or are you going to stay away from it? They got to figure it out, but I think they look their best, obviously, when they're making the threes, but I still think they should take them. That's their game.
Indiana stretching the lead. It's up to 12 points now. Left wing, Trey Singleton passes up the three. West gets a screen from him, dishes into the corner, and a travel. As Jordan Clayton was caught between a rock and a hard place right there, Northwestern turns it over.
You don't see that very often at this level. That kind of looked like me in my JV basketball days when we want to score so bad, so you're like, screw it, I'm in the corner, I'm going to shoot it. And then out comes Enright raging in defense, and he just chucked the ball on the baseline and said, get it away from me.
5.5 to go until halftime. Indiana 36, Northwestern 24. Hoosiers with the ball trying to extend their 12-point advantage. Tayton Connerway up top, kills the dribble. Now Reed Bailey has it in the near corner. He's not a three-point shooter. Puts it on the floor to the left block into a pair of defenders. He's fouled, trying to escape trouble. Martinelli and Sheravino were in the area. And the foul goes to Angelo Sheravino. That is his first of this first half.
Nick, I will continue to say it. I still, to this day, this deep in the season, think that when Bailey comes into the game, he needs to run someone over to get going. There's always been players like that throughout history that just need a little bit of physicality. Other teams think they can push Reed Bailey around, and so far Northwestern has. That time he was more strong with the ball.
Lamar Wilkerson inbounds to Tucker DeVries, who throws it to Casper the Friendly Ghost, and the Hoosiers turn it over. Wildcats pushing the pace in transition. West takes it all the way to the hoop, and he's fouled by Lamar Wilkerson, who immediately calls for a review.
I don't know about this one. This was a move from West. When these shorter guards go in the lane, they go into you so that you scoot back, and then they fade away and try and put it off the window. Wilkerson got a healthy part of the basketball. His body was moving away from West's, so that's where I'm confused where the contact was. Maybe he got the wrist area, which made the block look clean. Nonetheless, Jake West being an offensive presence in the first half for Northwestern, they'd be out of the game if it wasn't for West.
West knocks down the first free throw, 36-25, as Northwestern now trails by 11. Sam Alexis comes back into the game, Reed Bailey to the bench. So Alexis out there with Lamar Wilkerson, Tayton Connerway, Nick Dorn, and Tucker DeVries for Indiana. West at the free throw line, looking to go 2 for 2, is the freshman out of Philly. Free throw on the way. This one's short, so he's 1 of 2 at the stripe. And with 5 minutes to go, Indiana bringing the ball up the floor with an 11-point advantage. Connerway now getting extended minutes once again after working through a lower body injury in the middle part of the season. Wilkerson lobs to the right block where Alexis takes it all the way to the hole and lays it in off the window. And the lead is back to 13 for Indiana.
His body control going downhill, his head not even towards the basket. He is so in sync with his ability to not have a shot blocked and still be slow enough to lay it in when you need a little bit of touch. He's really been a huge improvement for Indiana since he was at Florida.
Singleton dribbles to the free throw line, spins, fires, and flushes down a mid-range jumper. And the lead back to 11 for Indiana. The Hoosiers trying to extend that right here with 4:17 to go until the break. Singleton now with 5 points, the freshman from Jeffersonville. At the top of the key, Alexis hands off to Tucker DeVries, who dribbles left inside the arc. DeVries looking for some space, not a whole lot to work with. He needs some help. Gives it up to Wilkerson. 9 seconds to shoot. Wilkerson turns around, pops a three. His first miss of the game. And down with the rebound is Arrington Page, as Lamar Wilkerson is now 4 of 5 from deep. Inside, Martinelli loses his defender and lays it in with the left hand, as Tucker DeVries ended up on his backside.
Feels like in a lot of these Big Ten matchups, for Purdue, it was Trey Kaufman-Renn, now Nick Martinelli for Northwestern. Indiana always puts Tucker DeVries, a shorter, undersized guard type of player, on these dynamic and strong forwards, and you can see it take a toll on Tucker, but he's always up for the challenge.
Pick and roll with Connerway and Alexis, and Sam knocks down another floater inside the lane. The Hoosiers lead Northwestern 40-29 with 3:20 to go until the break. Connerway doing a great job facilitating. He had 7 assists against Purdue. That was one of Indiana's only bright spots from that game. Northwestern needs to respond and then get some stops. Jaden Reed gets a screen from Page, dribbles to the right elbow, pulls up over Tucker DeVries, misses off the heel, and Wilkerson flies in for the board. 3 minutes to go until the break. Hoosiers with the ball and an 11-point lead. Wilkerson dribbles hard into his defender, now kills the dribble on the left edge and gives it up to Tucker DeVries. Heaves a cross-court pass to Nick Dorn, and an offensive foul on Sam Alexis as the moving screen sent Martinelli to the hardwood. And that takes us to the final TV timeout of this first half. Indiana 40, Northwestern 29, 2:50 to go until the break. You're listening to Indiana men's basketball on WIUX, your home for Hoosier Sports. Welcome back to Assembly Hall alongside Luke Brenneman. I'm Nick Rodecap. Indiana leads Northwestern 40-29, 2:50 to go until the break. And Luke, Indiana kind of learned from what Purdue did to them on Friday. The Hoosiers are shooting 74% from the floor and 67% from deep. Northwestern 55% and 43% respectively. On its face, that's not that bad. The problem is Northwestern hasn't been able to get a stop.
Yeah, I don't really know how they can, Nick, because at the start of this game, Indiana was making particularly three-point jump shots, and they were all late in the shot clock. Some of them weren't even good looks. I thought Northwestern started off and guarded pretty well outside of losing Wilkerson. That's tough to do because he really leads the offensive charge for the Hoosiers. And now it's gotten to the point where everyone's getting involved. Nick Dorn was involved in the first 10 minutes of this half. Sam Alexis has scored the last 2 buckets for Indiana on the interior. I'd like to see Tucker DeVries get a little bit going. Same with Enright. He can really share the basketball and has done it in the last 2 pick-and-roll sets with Sam Alexis. So it's fluid right now. That's the Darren DeVries offense that Indiana was looking for. And the first year, we've seen a lot of bright spots from it. How can they do it for 40 minutes? Well, that's the question.
Northwestern with the ball in the front court, trailing Indiana 40-29, 2:43 to go until halftime. Wildcats need some buckets and they need some stops. Both of those have been pretty hard to come by so far. 15 seconds to shoot. Up top, Arrington Page, picked up by Sam Alexis, shovels inside to Sheravino. Nice shot fake, shakes his defender, and Sheravino lays it in for 2. Back to single digits is the Indiana lead. Hoosiers bringing it up the floor with 2:22 to go until halftime, leading by 9. Connor Enright dribbling to the right block, bounces inside to Alexis all alone, and a 2-handed dunk for Sam Alexis.
3 consecutive trips, Enright to Alexis for 2. That's really good 2-man basketball from Indiana.
Northwestern needing another bucket, and they've got to get a stop on the other end, but it just hasn't happened yet. Sheravino left edge, it's Singleton now. Sheravino directs traffic at the top. West inside to Martinelli on the right block. Martinelli underneath the basket. Bangs on Wilkerson. Lays it up. No good with the left hand. Rebound deflected out of bounds. Last touched by Wilkerson, though he tries to argue otherwise.
Nick, it's fair to mention that Northwestern, they're scoring, but they can't get stops. Indiana's the same way. If you're a team that should be in the NCAA tournament right now, you shoot 75% against a team who has 3 wins in the league. You got to bury them by more than 11 in this opening half.
Inbound goes to Sheravino on the far wing. West gets it back up top, out near the midcourt stripe. He picks up a head of steam, dribbles inside the arc, but goes back to Martinelli. Now on the right edge, Singleton drives on Dorn, shakes him off inside, and Dorn is whistled for the foul as the freshman Trey Singleton earns a 2-shot trip to the free throw line.
That's a really strong take from a freshman. He pretty much stared Dorn down and said, I'm going to run through you until you can do something about it. And at the last second, as Singleton rose, Dorn grabbed down, grabs his arms, and kind of bailed Singleton out on a head-down, steamrolling drive through the lane. But he earns himself 2 free throws.
Singleton, first free throw is good. Making his 25th start here in his freshman season. That's the most starts by any Northwestern freshman in 6 years. Safe to say Chris Collins and this coaching staff love what he brings to the table.
Well, every team in this entire state pretty much recruited him, including Purdue. Louisville out of Kentucky recruited him. Indiana did not recruit Singleton. After he won the state championship, his recruiting just skyrocketed around July, and everybody was after him at the last second.
Indiana with the ball in a 9-point lead, 90 seconds to go until halftime. Sam Alexis kills the dribble on the left edge. Back out it goes to Tucker DeVries near midcourt on the right side. DeVries gets a screen from Alexis. On the left side now it's Enright, near corner. Nick Dorn, 3-ball too strong. And the rebound corralled on the far side by Northwestern's Aronson Page. An empty possession there for Indiana. 1:07 to go until the break. Indiana leading by 9. On the right edge, it's Singleton. Guarded by Dorn, hands in his face. Inside it goes to Martinelli. Back out to Singleton, who bluffs a 3. Martinelli gets it back with 13 to shoot. Martinelli, left-hand dribble, gets him into the lane. He spins, switches to the right, goes up on DeVries. Layup off target. Rebound fought for. Bodies hit the deck. The possession arrow favors Northwestern. And Darren DeVries, the Indiana head coach, frustrated his team couldn't come away with that loose ball.
It's these little things right now, Nick, and whether it's an offensive rebound, that's now 5 in the first half for Northwestern. Northwestern as a team, on average, is getting out-rebounded by 7 rebounds a game. They're even worse than Indiana at rebounding. Indiana's been out-rebounded by 26 rebounds their last 2 contests. You have got to do the little things right if you want to win games like this.
Tucker DeVries, active hands, intercepts the pass. Indiana pushes the pace. Nick Dorn can't pay it off with a 3, but the rebound deflected out of bounds. Last touch by a frustrated Aronson Page. He slapped the stanchion of the basket because he couldn't come away with that board.
Page is kind of just always frustrated type of guy. I was on the court pregame. He was screaming at the student managers, all uptight. I think that's just kind of his edge when he takes the floor.
Wilkerson off the baseline inbounds. 3-ball off target. This rebound controlled by Northwestern's Trey Singleton. 4 seconds between the clocks. 30 seconds to go until halftime. Northwestern with the ball trailing by 9 points. Sheravino had it poked out of his hands from behind, and Lamar Wilkerson tried to save it but stepped on the sideline. Almost a great hustle play there by Wilkerson, and even still, Chris Collins is frustrated. After that, he claps his hands to call a timeout. He is screaming at his freshman, Jake West. That was a bad sequence there for Northwestern.
It's his 2 freshman guards, Sheravino and West, just getting the riot act down there by Chris Collins. I'm sure whatever he's saying is extremely fair and justified. This is a guy who has made a living being an underdog in a conference like the Big Ten, where even in today's era, Northwestern doesn't have the resources or student involvement as Indiana basketball, fan support, et cetera, and he pretty much as a team, year in and year out, outside of this year, definitely a down season, that goes out and performs. Chris Collins in 2022 had the Wildcats as the 2nd-ranked team in the Big Ten. Come the NCAA tournament, he won the Coach of the Year that season. So he's been extremely loyal to the people of Evanston, Illinois, and he seems like an easy guy to play for.
Collins looking to avoid his first sub-500 season in 5 years. Northwestern 5 games under 500 right now. They'd have to win one in the Big Ten tournament to solidify a 500 campaign. 20 seconds to go. Northwestern with the ball in the front court, trailing by 9 points. 2 seconds between the clocks. West out near midcourt, picked up by Connor Enright, trying to kill some clock. 7 seconds to shoot, 10 in the half. West dribbles inside the lane on the right side and chucks it out of bounds on his own. Good defense there by Connor Enright, who bumps West's chest as if to say, hey, that's what's up.
Well, West blew right by him, and then after he did the hard part, kind of butterfingered the ball out of bounds. I don't really know what Enright would be saying. West just slapped him on the back, kind of joking around with Enright. That's been a fun battle to watch. Jake West, not a guy when he comes into your home arena that you're circling as a prolific scorer. West is up to 7 points in this first half. He's gotten to the free throw line. He's buried a pair of triples. But now Indiana calls timeout. 7 seconds left in the first half. You're up by 9. I think key takeaways of this half, Nick, you have to look at the numbers. 8 of 15 from beyond the arc. The three-point shooting has been successful. But Indiana, they got to play a little better defense. If you score 42 points and a half against a team like Northwestern that really struggles on the offensive end, you would like to think Indiana could do what was done to them on Friday in West Lafayette, where you simply tuck a team in at halftime. And right now, the Wildcats still a single-digit game, looking for a stop here on the final shot of the first half. And they have a lot to play for in the second half, only trailing by single digits with the stop.
6.8 seconds to go. Indiana's got the ball, but they need to go the length of the floor. Leading Northwestern 42-33. It'll be Tucker DeVries to inbound. DeVries on the left side of the baseline, looking to get it in. And now here's Wilkerson on the left side. Past midcourt with 4 seconds. Wilkerson picked up by Sheravino. Hoists a wild shot that misses everything. And Northwestern will get a shot at it with 1.1 to go.
So you got to get a better shot than that. You call a timeout, you have 7 seconds left, and you shoot a triple-teamed fadeaway three. I don't get it, Nick.
Martinelli triggers to Sheravino. It's good if it goes on the way, and it missed everything as well. That takes us to halftime here in Bloomington. Indiana 42, Northwestern 33, as the Hoosiers look to scratch and claw their way into the NCAA tournament. You're listening to Indiana men's basketball here on WIUX. The halftime show coming up right after this. Indiana by 9 at the break.
We welcome you back to Bloomington from Simon Scott Assembly Hall. Second half of Indiana basketball coming up right now. 42-33, Indiana a 9-point advantage over the Northwestern Wildcats. I'm Luke Brenneman alongside my good friend Nick Rodecap. Your final call at Assembly Hall, Nick. You had a fantastic first half. But let's talk about Indiana. 62% from the field. They knocked down 8 of 16 three-pointers. The offense was in full effect.
Yeah, and they needed it to be, Luke. You talk about a get-right game, and this team needed that because they're hosting Michigan State on Sunday. And you figure, well, you didn't get either Illinois or Purdue, so you had to get momentum back on the right side and go into Michigan State thinking that you have a chance. And that first half for Indiana here against Northwestern tonight has certainly shown that Indiana can play well enough to beat a team like Michigan State. The problem, as we've talked about, is doing it for 40 minutes. I don't know how sustainable shooting 63% from the floor is, but definitely encouraging. Now, you'd like to see Indiana shore things up a little bit on the defensive end and on the glass, but that's what halftime adjustments are for. We'll see whether or not they can make them and execute here in the final 20 minutes.
Although the shooting numbers off the charts for IU, just a 9-point lead. Tucker DeVries and Indiana ready to inbound and start the second half in the final 20 minutes of play against Northwestern with the basketball. DeVries can't find anyone to throw the basketball to, finally finds Enright in the opposition backcourt. Connor Enright and the Indiana starters moving left to right through your radio dial. Here's Sam Alexis, top of the key. Alexis smothered by Arrington Page, now drops it off to DeVries. DeVries on the block, picks up his dribble, has a cutting Enright. Enright, wraparound pass. Alexis on the far block, shot fake, left hand, and a little bit of English off the glass. Sam Alexis scored 6 points in the final 4 minutes of the second half. Give him another deuce. Indiana up by 11 after a score on the opening possession of the final 20 minutes. Here's Page, has it tipped away by Alexis, now grabs it right before midcourt. The big fella, Arrington Page, hands it off to the starting point guard for Northwestern, Jaden Reed. Reed, kick out, West near side short corner. West finds Martinelli. Martinelli rises, now gets rid of it. Here's Reed, drives in the lane, stops at the elbow, picks up his dribble, tough turnaround fadeaway, in and out, offensive rebound, and putback is right there from the left-hander, Nick Martinelli. The Big Ten's leading scorer, averaging over 22 points per game, had just 7 in the first half. He's now up to 9 after the putback lay-in. 44-35 IU. Enright turns it over. Here come the Wildcats. Martinelli in transition. Acrobatic layup, up and in. Back-to-back twos from Nick Martinelli. And don't look now, but a 7-point game at the Hall. 18:35 to go, final half.
You talk about things like ball security and effort on the glass. Indiana not good on either of those fronts to start this second half.
Here's Connor Enright, just turned it over, now gets rid of it. Alexis at the free throw line, on the dribble, handoff Wilkerson, steps into a three, in and out. Off the front of the iron, here comes Reed the other direction. Jaden Reed pushes with his left hand, drops it back to Singleton. Singleton in the lane, fouled by Dorn. Went up for the lay-in and made it, but the foul was on the floor. In the foul department, that is the second personal on Nick Dorn. And no true foul trouble in that opening half from either team.
That's going to be one of the keys for Indiana. Second most fouls of any team in the Big Ten per game this season. Foul trouble was a problem for them against Purdue. They're going to have to keep it clean in the second half.
Reed will inbound on the script D in the Indiana baseline. He gets it into Nick Martinelli. Drives in, on the block, rises, rejected. Tucker DeVries sent it right back on the baseline. It'll be Wildcat basketball, 18:09 to go. Indiana leads by 7. The same inbound spot just seconds ago from the Wildcats. He gets it in. Page, short corner jumper. That's too strong. Offensive rebound. What's new? Martinelli into DeVries. Left hand through contact. He got it. And Tucker DeVries is injured in the painted area.
Indiana fans wanted a charge. It looked like Tucker DeVries was set. Martinelli, a lot of contact there. We've seen him play very physical today. I don't know if DeVries was set looking at it again, but Indiana fans aren't going to like it.
A lot of contact from the 6'7", 225-pound Nick Martinelli. He went right through Indiana's Tucker DeVries, and now a 5-point game. Martinelli already 6 points in the first 2 minutes of the second half. Wilkerson will take it for Indiana. He crosses the timeline, under 18 to go. 5-point game. The IU offense needs to wake up. Wilkerson gets a screen from DeVries. Now on the dribble, guarded by Singleton. Kicks it out. Tucker DeVries thought about a three. Drives in the lane, picks it up. Corner. Dorn for three, short. Rebound goes to Martinelli of Northwestern. Right to left comes the point guard, Jake West. West had 7 in the first half, works on Enright. Now finds Martinelli cutting. Martinelli up through contact, he's fouled. Shot was blocked from Alexis, and they're going to get Sam Alexis on the foul. That's what the Indiana faithful has to say about the recent officiating. But Nick, a lackluster opening 2.5 minutes of this second half. Indiana just doesn't look ready to play.
Martinelli was fouled 3 times going up to the basket that time. This is where you talked about it in the first half. Martinelli's going to get his. He averages over 22 points a game, and you figured, well, if anybody's going to keep Northwestern in this game, it's the Big Ten's best scoring threat. And you look up, less than 3 minutes into the second half, this free throw could make it a 3-point game.
Martinelli makes the first. He's currently the 84th ranked prospect in this Cummings NBA draft. 2 for 2 for Martinelli. He has 8 points within the first 3 minutes of the second half, and it's 44-41. Indiana leads by 3. The Hoosiers need to wake up. Connerway back into the game, a quick substitution. He comes in for the point guard, Enright. This time it's DeVries right in front of the Indiana bench. Works on Arrington Page. Kick out. Connerway, top of the key. Drives. Euro step all the way out. One more to Wilkerson. He passes up a three. Floater in the lane. Spit right back out from the rim. And the rebound goes to the Wildcats.
You've been talking about Connerway. He needs to shoot those right at the rim.
Martinelli dishes to Arrington Page. Started at USC, then to Cincinnati, now with the Wildcats. Here's the freshman point guard, Jake West, guarded by Wilkerson. A matchup of the jersey number 3s. West now working on Doran. Pull up, mid-range, short. Rebound to Connerway. Here comes Indiana, moving with tempo. Connerway slows it down. Stands right on the Simon Scott Assembly Hall logo, calls for a screen. Skip pass, one more. Corner three, DeVries. Indiana needed it, and Tucker DeVries delivered. 6-point IU lead, 16-18 to go in the second half. Here comes the crowd a little bit, something to cheer about after a slow start to the final 20. Jaden Reed brings it across for Northwestern. Chris Collins has got to be pleased with his team's effort staying in this game so far. Reed drives on Connerway, gets physical, foul called at the last second, and I don't know about that one. 15:59 to go, that takes us under 16. That's the third team foul of the half now from Indiana. Northwestern has not committed a foul in this half, and we will head to break. A 6-point IU advantage, but they have got to clean some things up in a much-needed win over a Quadrant 3 opponent. Northwestern really putting it on IU to start the second half. We'll be right back on 99.1, your home for Hoosier Sports. A tight one here at Assembly Hall. Indiana leads Northwestern by 6, 47-41, 15:59 to go in this one. Alongside Nick Rodecap, I'm Luke Brenneman. We appreciate you tuning in to WIUX for the radio coverage tonight. Nick, it's been an offensive onslaught so far, a lot of fun basketball to watch, but now it's starting to get physical. Northwestern drawing contact. Indiana already 3 team fouls in the first 4 minutes of the second half, and it seems like that's led to success.
And it's all starting with Nick Martinelli. Shocker, right? The conference's best scorer is going to be the guy who puts Northwestern on his back. But that's exactly what's happening. And Indiana doesn't really have an answer, whether it's turning the ball over or lackadaisical effort on the glass, 2 things that we've seen prove problematic for them this season. The question is, can you weather the storm? That's what we're going to find out here for Indiana.
6-point lead for Indiana. Northwestern with the basketball trying to cut into it some more. Jake West near side wing. Finds Arrington Page, top of the key. Page takes a dribble with the left hand, drives in on Bailey, gets stood up. Martinelli, low block, missed a wide open layup. Rebound goes to Nick Doran. Nick Martinelli wants that one back. Some late help defense from Connerway, maybe threw off the shot. Indiana basketball. Connerway, top of the key, finds Reed Bailey, 3-point line beyond. Bailey, handoff to Tucker DeVries. He just made a 3-pointer. DeVries into the lane, spin move, right hand finish, rejected by Page. Northwestern has numbers if they want to run. Here they come. Singleton, transition, runs through Bailey, rejected. Reed Bailey sent it back. Singleton got it, kick out. Jake West for three, a little bit too short. And Lamar Wilkerson of Indiana skies for the rebound. These offensive rebounds stacking up for the Wildcats, now up to 9 for NU on the evening. This is a team that doesn't even have a true center on their team. Tucker DeVries, near side wing, shot fake. Now bounce pass to Wilkerson in the short corner. Wilkerson, one more over to Connerway. Long range three, you bet! Tayton Connerway puts up the three-point pistol because he just buried one. Indiana by 9, 14:35 to go.
27% from deep on the season for Connerway, but Northwestern's not going to leave him open again tonight.
Connerway, the only Hoosier to really have a solid performance against Purdue on Friday night. Indiana by 9, here comes the Hoosier crowd. Singleton near side wing, 10 on the shot clock for the Wildcats. Reed to West in the corner, rim run, left hand finish, was blocked off the finish onto the backboard and then through the hoop by Reed Bailey. Give Jake West another 2, he's up to 9. Martinelli and Jake West combining for 24 for Northwestern. 50-43, Indiana lead. Connerway with the basketball, guarded by Reed. Calls for a DeVries screen. Tayton Connerway dumps it to DeVries, 40 feet from the basket. Now Connerway towards the rim, has a step, left hand finish, that is true. Connerway, the spark plug, right past the defender. Indiana back up by 9. Jake West brings it right to left. He crosses the timeline, now standing on the outline of the Indiana State at midcourt. West looking for Martinelli. He has it in the corner. Martinelli guarded by Bailey, looking for Arrington Page. He has it now on the far block. Backing down Tucker DeVries. Double team comes to Page. It's now just Bailey on Page. He still has it. He fades. He bumps. He chucks to the far wing. It's Reed into the lane. Guarded by Doran. Fade away. Nowhere near the basket. Rebound to Indiana and Nick Doran. That is fantastic team defense from the Hoosiers. And the crowd, for the first time all night, is going to rise at Assembly Hall.
This is where you can see this team feed off the energy that the crowd gives them. It's such a big factor here at home.
A bucket here would be huge. The pass goes through Wilkerson's fingertip beyond midcourt, but it's not backcourt because it was tipped by Jake West.
Looked like that was only Wilkerson. Chris Collins wanted a backcourt violation there.
Wilkerson drives on West, now swings to the corner. Dorn, fade away, he chucked it, and he stepped out of bounds. He was so far dug into the corner on the near side by Jake West, the freshman defender for Northwestern, that he stepped out of bounds before he could even shoot the basketball. And it feels like on trips like that, Nick, when the crowd gets into it, Indiana sometimes just can't feed off the energy in this building.
Yeah, and that's where you have to capitalize. The crowd is finally rocking. There's finally some energy. It no longer sounds like a library in here, and you don't even get a shot off. You just turn it over.
Here's Sheravino back into the game for the first time in the second half. Jake West right in front of Chris Collins, his head coach. Northwestern trails Indiana by 9. Singleton, top of the key. Still hasn't dribbled, now he does. Finds Jake West. Far side corner. They post up Martinelli. Jake West threw it out of bounds. Martinelli was posting up Reed Bailey, then ditched the post up to try and screen for West, but West had already thrown the pass, and it trickles out of bounds. Indiana a chance to go back up by double digits. That would be the first double-digit lead of the second half. Connerway, the point guard, the last 4.5 minutes or so for the IU offense. They've looked solid. Connerway has it, top of the key, through the legs dribble, kick, DeVries for 3, a little bit long. Rebound tipped out of bounds, and it was last touched by Nick Doran. It will be Northwestern basketball, 12:02 to go in the second half.
And you really like, for Indiana, the intensity. Even though the shots aren't falling at the same clip that they did in the first half, Indiana's keeping the effort up, and they're feeding off the energy that the crowd gives them. Not necessarily converting it into points, but you like the effort nonetheless.
Connor Enright subs back into the game. Nick Doran travels to the bench. Tucker DeVries will also get a rest. Josiah Miles has checked into the game. For Northwestern, it's Martinelli, Singleton, Reed, Sheravino, and Jake West to the point guard with the basketball right now. He finds the other guard, Sheravino, near side wing. Looking for Reed, top of the key. Good defense from Connerway. Reed has it. Still trying to post up one of the bigs inside. Pick and roll. Martinelli, middle of the lane. The push shot is up and through. The lead is back down to 7 on the Nick Martinelli 2 from the Wildcats. He makes a living down there on those slot passes, and boy, oh boy, the 6'7", 230-pounder can rise up and score. Sisley into the game for Indiana. He posts up Reed Bailey, and Bailey turned it over. Another offensive turnover for Reed Bailey of Indiana. Reed and the Wildcats going the other way. Singleton drives in, stops at the free throw line. Kick out, West for three, a bullet, and he got it to go. Timeout, Indiana. The lead is down to 4. Jake West, the freshman, in his Assembly Hall debut, has a dozen on 3 of 4 shooting from beyond the arc, and the Wildcats putting the full court press on IU in the second half. 52-48, 11-10 to go. We'll step aside on WIUX, your home for Hoosier Sports. Back here in Bloomington, we got a tight one deep into the second half. Indiana 52, Northwestern 48, 11 minutes and 10 seconds remain. Alongside Nick Rodecap, I'm Luke Brenneman. Nick, Northwestern's really risen to the Assembly Hall task tonight. This is an NU team just 3-13 in the Big Ten Conference, but now winning the second half by 5 points, and they've made this quite a game.
Well, and we shouldn't be surprised because Chris Collins has led this Northwestern team to 5 straight wins over Indiana, and he has not lost in this building since January of 2020. It's been a really long time. Sometimes a coach just has your program's number, regardless of the opposing head coach, regardless of the roster. Sometimes he's just your kryptonite, and that's what's been going on here as of late for Northwestern against Indiana. So far, the Hoosiers just don't have an answer for Nick Martinelli and company. They've done a really good job of keeping themselves in this game.
Indiana has the basketball. Northwestern shows a little bit of a soft full court pressure, but Indiana beats it with ease. Tucker DeVries on the bounce right in front of his father, Indiana head coach Darren DeVries, and the IU bench. They post up Sam Alexis, far side block, working on the freshman West. Alexis rises and scores. The double team came, but Alexis fought right through it. A big basket out of the timeout for IU. They lead by 6.
Alexis, 12 points, a perfect 6 for 6 from the floor.
He is so mightily efficient night in and night out. Jake West finds Martinelli top of the key. That's been the duo tonight for the Wildcats. Here's Sheravino, pull up, mid-range, air ball. That was way short from a really prolific shooter, especially in the mid-range area. And that'll take us under 12 and immediate timeout. The most recent timeout was a called timeout from Indiana to stop the Wildcat run. So we'll step aside once again. 54-48, Indiana gets 2, and now a stop on the Sheravino air ball. We'll be right back with 10.5 to go in Bloomington. The Northwestern Wildcats have come into Bloomington on a Tuesday night, and they simply will not go away. Indiana leads by 6, 54-48. With 10.5 to go in this one. Nick Rodecap, Northwestern just 3 wins in 16 conference games this season. And in large part, it's been because of the final 10 or 12 minutes a game.
Yeah, Northwestern has a bad habit as of late of letting these games get away from them. Against Michigan, they had a plus-minus, getting outscored by 23 points in the final 12 minutes. Then at Nebraska, minus 21 in the final 12 minutes. Against Maryland, a game they won by 4, they outscored the Terps by 1 point in that stretch. And so far, they're still on the positive side. +5 going into that media timeout. So the question for the Wildcats is, can they avoid an avalanche of points? And so far, the answer has been yes. Indiana was leading by 9 at the break. Northwestern now trailing by just 6 with 10.5 to go, and it kind of feels like momentum is on their side. Lamar Wilkerson has gone cold. Indiana, really, Sam Alexis, one of the only good spots offensively, and defensively for the Hoosiers, they still have not found a way to stop Nick Martinelli. It's not rocket science, but that is going to be key for them in the final 10:28 of regulation.
All right, here we go. IU by 6, Northwestern led by head coach Chris Collins. We talked about it in the last break. 3rd most all-time wins at Simon Skjodt Assembly Hall of active Big Ten coaches. He's won in this building 4 times. Inbound to Lamar Wilkerson, 10, 20, and counting remain in this one. Indiana 54, Northwestern 48. Connor Enright with the basketball, gives it to Deshae Miles, back to the point guard Enright. Has Alexis, he's double-teamed at the free throw line, kicks it to the corner, Deshae Miles. He now posts up Singleton, gives it back to DeVries. DeVries drives, baseline, bounces off the defender, fades, and scores. That is as pretty as it comes right there. Slow, in control, and dynamic off the dribble. Tucker DeVries with a 2 puts Indiana up by 8. Reed crosses the timeline, finds Martinelli, dribble handoff with the freshman Singleton. State champion at Jeffersonville High School in Indiana. Top of the key, it's Arrington Page. Posts up Martinelli. Martinelli is clobbered by DeVries. DeVries stares down Nick Martinelli, has a couple more words from him. The students are barking at Martinelli, but DeVries may be the leading catalyst of this conversation. Maybe that was one of those, I'm late coming over to help, so I'm just going to run you over and make sure you get out of the paint, because Martinelli has 8 points in this half. He's been having his way. Inbound underneath. Page has it, guarded by Alexis. Page goes baseline, he's denied, tries again with the left hand, drives into Alexis, and eventually goes up and gets fouled. Couldn't get the right hand layup to go, but Arrington Page muscles his way into the lane and draws 2 free throws.
Well, and now, Luke, we're just past halfway into this second half. Indiana already with 5 fouls. The Hoosiers, 2 more, and Northwestern shooting 1-1. By contrast, Northwestern has yet to commit a single foul in this second half. So those fouls are absolutely going to be a factor. And for Northwestern, can they make their free throws down the stretch in this game?
Arrington Page up and through with the first free throw. Page was heavily recruited by Indiana under Mike Woodson. He went to USC, then transferred to Cincinnati, averaged around 3 points per game with the Bearcats and Wes Miller. And he's now at Northwestern, averaging 10 points per game and 4.5 rebounds. That rebound tally leads the team. 2 for 2 from the charity stripe from the 6'11" junior forward Page, and the lead is back down to 6, Indiana basketball. Enright and Tucker DeVries now with the basketball, trying to get some offense going for IU. Looking for Wilkerson, guarded tightly, and he can't get the basketball. Good defense from Sheravino. Now it's 6 on the shot clock. Enright drives in the lane, kicks it to the corner. Tough catch and shoot 3 from DeVries. That's a bad shot. Rebound goes to Northwestern. Here comes Reed the other direction. Spin move in the lane, stops on a dime, misses the floater. Tipped out of bounds by Reed. IU basketball. That's kind of a gift there. Reed did the entire difficult part. Got in the lane, had a wide open layup, but was just moving extremely quick. Maybe caught off guard by how open he actually was. And IU will take over with 8:54 to go, up by 6. Tucker DeVries brings it up, now hands it off to Enright. Still not beyond half court yet. 8:45 to go, a tight game between Indiana and Northwestern. Enright gives it to DeVries. Skip pass to the corner. Nick Dorn, fresh off the bench, drives baseline, picks up his dribble, goes to the far corner. Wilkerson goes in the lane, stripped away by Sheravino. Here comes Northwestern the other way. Reed to Sheravino, into the lane, scoop and score! Angelo Sheravino, the freshman from Chicago, right through the heart of the Indiana defense, and the IU lead is shrunk to 4.
IU disjointed offensively on one end, at the other, Angelo Sheravino right down the lane unabated. And DeVries fouled by Trey Singleton well ahead of the basket.
The crowd pop there is because we are nearly 12 minutes into the second half of play, and that is the first team foul of the half on the Wildcats.
It just seems like Indiana has these stretches where they're mental lapses, maybe lapses in communication, lapses in positioning, and Northwestern is capitalizing. That's what's keeping the visitors in this game.
Got to play 40 minutes. Here's Connerway, picks up his dribble for whatever reason. He's bombarded by Sheravino. Pass to Alexis, right as Sam caught it, he was fouled. This time the foul is on Arrington Page. No, you never want to give a team like Northwestern, you talked about in the open, Nick, they're playing with house money. They're 11-16, they're bottom of the conference, and now in an atmosphere like this, a chance to play spoiler on maybe tournament chances for a historic program like IU, you don't want to give them hope late in the game, and they certainly have it. Inbound goes to Wilkerson, near side, wing extended. Couple screens, frees up DeVries, contested 3, he was fouled. 3 consecutive Northwestern fouls, and this foul is going to result in a set of free throws for Tucker DeVries when we come back. We're under 8, 7:58 to go, 56-52. IU leads the Wildcats of Northwestern, and 3 foul shots coming up next for Tucker DeVries. We'll be right back on WIUX, your home for Hoosier Sports. Some Tuesday night tension at Assembly Hall in Bloomington. Indiana with their tournament chances, or at least an at-large bid, potentially on the line. A quad 3 opponent in Northwestern comes into town. Indiana 9-point favorites in this game, but they lead by just 4 with 8 minutes to go in the second half. Alongside Nick Rodecap, I'm Luke Brenneman. Nick, IU has not scored in over 2 minutes. Northwestern really beating up Indiana, winning on the glass, winning in the foul category. What can Indiana do for these final 8 minutes to kind of change the narrative of the last 12?
Well, IU's offense has struggled remarkably in this second half relative to where they were in the first half, shooting over 60% from the floor. Big part of why, I think, is Lamar Wilkerson. He hasn't scored since about halfway through the first half. He's gone nearly 20 minutes of game time without a made field goal, and this is a guy who is one of the best scorers in the Big Ten. You need him to get going again, to do more than keep you in this game, but to help you separate once again from Northwestern. And if Nick Martinelli is going to continue to do what Nick Martinelli is doing, it can't just be the Tucker DeVries and Sam Alexis show. You need a third option if you're Indiana, and right now that third option is Wilkerson, but he just hasn't found many open looks as of late.
Well, coming out of the timeout, it's 3 free throws for Tucker DeVries. The first one is up and true. DeVries now has 8 points. Nick Doran has 8. Tatum Connerway, a quiet 10 on 4 of 4 shooting. Alexis, 12 points on 6 of 6 shooting. And you talked about Lamar Wilkerson at 14 in the first half, has not scored in the second. 3 for 3 from the charity stripe from the coach's son. And Indiana takes a 7-point lead with under 8 to go. And here comes the home crowd in Bloomington. This team needs this crowd to start playing in effect. Under 8, Jake West on the dribble, through the legs. Now to Martinelli, right in front of the Northwestern bench. Shot fake, step back, mid-range 2, rattles home for Nick Martinelli. He's up to 19 points on the evening, really keeping NU in this game right now. Tucker DeVries on the skip. Now stops on a dime right in front of his father in the Indiana bench. Tatum Connerway, top of the key, stares down the defender Jake West. Here comes the double team. Connerway picks up his dribble, has nowhere to go, and threw the ball down the sideline into the fans sitting courtside. There was an Indiana player within 5 feet of the pass.
Nick Doran went inside the arc. The ball went outside the arc, and those are the kinds of sloppy mistakes you just cannot afford in a 5-point game.
Arrington Page now for the Wildcats. Potentially can make this a one-possession game with a basket here. Singleton on the dribble, drives baseline on Doran, wraps around. He was pushed out of bounds by Nick Doran. And a bailout call, whether Doran fouled him or not. It was a wise decision to drive baseline in that situation for Singleton. But he gets off the baseline, and that's where Northwestern will inbound. The 6th team foul on Indiana in this half. The next one will be 1-1 for the Wildcats. Inbound pass to Sheravino. He's fouled underneath. Tatum Connerway late arriving on the inbounds play. He gets a large part of the guard's forearm, and Sheravino will shoot 2. Nick, these are just costly, lazy defensive decisions, and they're resulting in Indiana having to foul the Wildcats.
In Indiana now, Northwestern shooting free throws for the final 7:02 of this second half.
First free throw is short. Sheravino, a 55% free throw shooter on the season, but he's coming off a 16-point performance against Maryland. Second foul shot right down Broadway, and the IU lead is just 4 points. 7 minutes on the nose in this one. Indiana needs it. They lead by 4. DeVries with the basketball, crosses the timeline, bounce pass to Alexis. Handoff Lamar Wilkerson. Shot fakes a 3, top of the key. Wilkerson, jab step into the lane, spins off a defender. Now stays on the dribble into the short corner. Backing down Singleton, spinning, shooting, and missed it off the heel. Rebound to Martinelli and the Wildcats. Here comes the freshman guard, Jake West. They post up Martinelli in the lane. Double team comes. Kick out. Page for 3. He got it. The 6'11". Arrington Page knocks down a 3, and it's a 1-point game in Bloomington.
Page, a 23% three-point shooter, just made it a 1-point game. Unbelievable.
Indiana has given the Wildcats a chance, and they're capitalizing right now. 6:10 to go. Wilkerson in the corner. Has DeVries up top. Thought about a 40-footer, now drives in the lane. Working on Singleton. Fades, shoots, that's short. Rebound off the back of Jake West out of bounds. Sam Alexis fought for the offensive rebound, and Indiana will have it on the inbound.
And Indiana, 4 minutes without a made field goal. Mentioned that Lamar Wilkerson has gone cold, now over 20 minutes without a made basket for him. Indiana just doesn't have many scoring options right now.
Inbound to Alexis. He rises and catches it on the far block. backing into the Singleton, splitting a double team, chucks it up with his right hand, and barely hit the backboard. Here comes Northwestern, a chance to take the lead under 6 minutes. West gets a screen and an offensive foul on the Arrington Page screen. Gives Indiana a breath of fresh air with 5:47 to go.
And I guess for Indiana, there's just no real fire. There's no intensity, and there's no intensity from the crowd either. And this is kind of the problem. The team feeds off the energy from the fans. It was a big reason why they beat Purdue, and the crowd has just been a non-factor so far in this game.
Indiana with a basketball, a couple screens. Wilkerson on the dribble, drives in. A foul is called. It's going to get booked on Singleton. That's the 5th foul on Northwestern this half. 5.5 to go in this one. 59 for IU, 58 for Northwestern.
They got Reed for that one, I think. That's his 3rd.
So they're actually going to get the point guard, Jaden Reed, off the ball. Singleton was guarding Wilkerson. Wilkerson off the inbound. Corner 3. That's off the mark. Rebound to Sheravino. Wildcats have number. West going the other way. Euro step. He chucked it up. Air ball. Rebound to Reed Bailey. IU has numbers if they want to push. West is injured in transition. One more. DeVries. Shot fake. Wide open 3. In and out. Singleton grabs the rebound. And Darren DeVries visibly upset, smacking his hands together. Northwestern and Chris Collins calls timeout. Chris Collins with his hands on his hips says, take a deep breath, let's slow down. We're down by 1 with the basketball with 5:10 to go. And Nick, let's stick around. Indiana has not scored in nearly 3 minutes of game time. They're 2 of their last 10. They're 0 of their last 7. And the Wildcats are on a 6-0 run.
And it just seems like every time Indiana needs a big answer, for example, that last offensive possession, you're pushing the pace, it's 5-on-4, a guy is hobbled getting back on defense. Every time you need an answer, you need a big bucket, you need a big stop, you're just not getting it. They're just not getting it. You might even say they're not getting over the hump. That honestly is what it feels like right now. Every time they need a big bucket, a big answer, they're not getting it. Lamar Wilkerson has gone cold. He has gone freezing cold in the second half. Wilkerson 0 of 5 from the floor in this half after he scored 14 points in the first half. Nick Dorn's not stepping up. Connor Enright's not stepping up. So you've got 2 options offensively. It's Tucker DeVries and Sam Alexis. That's basically it. We saw Tatum Conaway take it to the hole a few times in the first half. That has completely vanished. Indiana just doesn't have an offensive identity. And the thing about Northwestern, in this second half, Nick Martinelli, 12 points on 5 of 7 shooting. He's been efficient. And the biggest thing, I think, for Northwestern in this second half, 4 more offensive rebounds. The Wildcats have 10 second chance points.
Inbound goes to Martinelli. A chance for the Wildcats to take the lead. Martinelli, step back, mid-range jumper, bottoms. Northwestern has a 1-point advantage with under 5 minutes to go in a must-win game for Indiana's tournament chances at Assembly Hall. Enright to Wilkerson, drives in the lane, shrugs off a defender, goes up with the left hand, and was fouled. Could not convert on the floater in the lane, but a good sign that Wilkerson gets himself to the free throw line and potentially more involved in this second half IU offense.
And this reminds me a lot of that Wisconsin game. Indiana had a big advantage, let it slip away. What was the difference maker in the second half and overtime? It was Lamar Wilkerson making 8 consecutive free throws to give Indiana the win. Wilkerson, maybe the field goals aren't falling, but if he can get into the lane, draw contact, and get to the free throw line, he can still find a way to affect this game in a positive way.
Looks like there may be some blood on the right forearm elbow area of Indiana's Nick Dorn. He's now being attended to by the training staff. Sam Alexis comes up and off the bench, and he's going to come in for Reed Bailey. The crowd loves Sam Alexis in this building. But, Nick, you talked about it coming out of the timeout. Indiana led Northwestern 42-33 after the first half. They've been outscored 27-17 in the second half. 4:49 to go. Wilkerson at the free throw line for a pair. Lamar shoots it at 88% from the foul line. The first one is up and nothing but net. For the second leading scorer in the Big Ten Conference, 21 per game. He now has 15, but that's his first point of the second half. I mean, it's do or die right now, Nick. You talked about this building not having much intensity, the guys not playing with much, oomph behind it, but if you want to play when it matters most, you got to win right now. You got a 1-point lead and 5 minutes to prove it. Inbound to Singleton. He passes it back. Martinelli will now bring it up as the point guard for Northwestern. And IU rises as the home faithful knows they need this one. Arrington Page at the free throw line. Backing down DeVries. Goes up with a right-hand hook shot off the side of the rim. It's a scram for the ball. Alexis wins it. And here comes Wilkerson and IU. A 5-on-4 going the other way. Wilkerson into the lane. Now to Alexis. It's tipped. Back to Wilkerson for three. Short. Rebound Jake West.
Martinelli hobbled going up the floor as well.
He looks to be okay now as he begs for the ball from the point guard Jake West. Jake West still has it on the bounce. 4 of 5 to go. Indiana by 1. West gets a screen from Martinelli. He takes it. Draws the switch. It's now Enright guarding Martinelli. Martinelli 6'7" into Enright. Through Enright, trying to pass it. Kick out. Cheravino for three. Way off the mark. An air ball short. Cheravino's really struggling with the Assembly Hall pressure. Going the other way. Doran thought about a corner three. Probably a wise decision to slow. Wilkerson drives, goes up with the right hand, blocked out of bounds by Singleton. And that takes us under 4. Everybody in this building, I'm guilty of it too. We need to catch our breath. 61-60. Who thought after the first half, you have one team who shoots 51%, you have one team who shoots 65%. We got 121 combined points right now with 3.5 to go, Nick.
And that's the thing about this Indiana team. They can't play a full 40 minutes. It's been a point of emphasis for them this season that they haven't been able to close these games. And how about Northwestern? 3-13 in the league. Barring a miracle Big Ten tournament run, you're not making the NCAA tournament, but you can take somebody else down with you. And they're trying to do that to Indiana right now. Huge credit to them and to Chris Collins. And like I said earlier, sometimes a team just has your number. And that might be the case with Indiana and Northwestern. The Hoosiers have not lost 6 straight against Northwestern ever. This is Northwestern's longest winning streak against the Hoosiers in over 100 years, and they can push it to a program record 6 games if they can rally in the final 337. Great job by the Wildcats of staying in this thing.
Well, Nick, it does bring up the question. Sure, IU was 9-point favorites coming into tonight. Sure, they're playing for a whole lot. Maybe Northwestern's not. Take all that bulletin board stuff and kind of push it aside. You got to come out for 40 minutes and play. It makes you wonder, for a team that's on the bubble of the NCAA tournament, you go and get mollywopped by 49 combined points. You have a ton of rest in between those 2 games, between Illinois and Purdue. And now you come out and play like this. Is it fair to ask the question, is Indiana really a tournament team?
That's the thing about how inconsistent this team has been. You don't know which version of them is going to show up. And that's kind of the maddening thing because you see the things that they do really well, like gritting out a double overtime win on the road against UCLA. And then you come out the next game, maybe dead legs, West Coast road trip, guys are sick, and you come out super flat against USC. You blow a lead late against Wisconsin, you win in overtime, you go on the road to Illinois, you're non-competitive. Then you go to Purdue, you're non-competitive, and there are more questions than answers. Even if they do make the NCAA tournament, I don't know how, relatively speaking, it would be a success because you knew that this roster was flawed going into this season. You knew that size was going to be a problem. You knew that depth was going to be a problem. But I think it's just frustrating that the intensity isn't always there. The effort isn't always there. That's why the crowd, the atmosphere isn't always there like maybe it should be, like it has been in the past. Because if the fans don't know which version of the team is going to show up, then why should they bother to show up? I mean, you look at Indiana right now, 1-point lead, 3:37 to go. They haven't made a field goal in 6.5 minutes. And those are the kinds of no-show stretches that you just cannot afford in the Big Ten.
Talked about Indiana shooting 65% from the field in the first half. They're 6 of 20 in the second half. If you can't do that math, that's 30%, 2 of 9 from beyond the arc. What's really got Indiana over the hump in some of these games late into contests like we are right now is getting to the free throw line behind Lamar Wilkerson. It's IU basketball. 61 for Indiana, 60 for the Wildcats of Northwestern. Here we go. All rise at Assembly Hall. Enright will inbound. Enright finds Alexis right in front of the Indiana bench. Dribble handoff with Connor Enright. Swings it. Wilkerson drives into the lane. Stops at the Big Ten logo. Into the defense. Now to Alexis on the far block. One more. Wilkerson for 3. Short. Cheravino flies in for the rebound. And here comes Jake West and the Wildcats. Another opportunity to take the lead. The center Page up top, bounce pass off of Martinelli's foot. Wilkerson takes it away, a 2-on-1, alley-oop, Alexis lost it, an Indiana turnover. 3-on-3 going right to left for the Wildcats. Pass inside to Page. Swing, Martinelli, corner three, butter! Nick Martinelli silences Assembly Hall. The Wildcats lead by 2 with under 3 minutes to go.
Wilkerson tried to get too cute and throw a lob to Alexis. He turned it over. Northwestern makes the transition 3, and they have the lead.
Here's Dorn for 3. That's way too strong. Another rebound from Sheravino, and the restlessness is getting out of control at Assembly Hall.
And Indiana completely absent on the glass right there as well.
Wildcats by 2, 2:25 to go. Jake West, the point guard, with the basketball. Martinelli has it up top, right back to West. Takes the Nick Martinelli screen. West posts up Martinelli. Now in the short corner, goes into the defense, blocked by Enright. It ricochets off Enright's fingertips, out of bounds. 4 seconds on the dot remains on the shot clock. Northwestern will inbound underneath.
It almost feels like a carbon copy of that Wisconsin game. Just a complete no-show in the middle of the second half. And now the visitors have the lead after seemingly being dead at halftime.
Indiana 0 for their last 11 from the field. This is as nightmarish as it gets. You referenced the 2-on-1 going the other way for IU. Wilkerson, lay it in.
Yeah.
You're down by 1.
You've got numbers, but instead he tries to go for the highlight reel alley-oop to Alexis, and he threw it either over his head, behind him, or both. I couldn't really tell.
And let's not act like Sam Alexis at 6'9", a heavy set forward, is some sky flyer that's really going to go up and make a play on his own in a situation like that.
And those are just the mental lapses that, those are 2 veteran guys, especially Wilkerson, a fifth-year senior. He knows better than that. It's kind of maddening when you're watching it because those are avoidable mistakes. And then Martinelli, how about the poise by him on the other end, rising to the occasion. He's not a big volume shooter from three-point range, but he's really efficient, over 40% from there. He knew the moment, called for a corner 3 to give his team the lead, and he answered the call and then some. And for Indiana, they haven't made a field goal now in over 7 minutes of game time, and you're trailing by 2. I mean, what do you do when you're stuck in a hole offensively?
And you don't have the basketball. Northwestern and Chris Collins drawing up a play with 4 seconds left on the shot clock. There's 2 minutes and 14 seconds to go. Indiana trails by 2. If anyone wanted to know how the battle between the number 1 and number 2 scorers in the Big Ten Conference were going to go, Nick Martinelli has 24 points, and Lamar Wilkerson has 16. Lamar had 14 at halftime. Martinelli had 7 in the first half. And when it's mattered most, not for Northwestern's tournament chances, not for the sake of any outside chance of making the NCAA tournament for NU, Martinelli has risen to the occasion on the road, and Wilkerson has been a non-factor offensively. But he's got 2 minutes and 14 seconds to try and completely flip the script. This is one of those games, Nick, that it doesn't matter how you win. You gotta find a way. You got 124 seconds left to really prove that Indiana belongs.
The referee's reviewing something, trying to figure out, I think, how much time is on the shot clock. That ball out of bounds. So the shot clock does reset. Initially, it was down to 4 seconds for Northwestern. Now they get a fresh 20 from the baseline. You feel like if they go up 2 possessions here, it might be closing time for Indiana.
Especially with how restless it is. The inbound goes to Singleton. Remember, the Wildcats have time. 15 on the shot clock. Jake West, top of the key. Enright goes for the reach, now backs off. West takes a Martinelli screen. The freshman, Jake West, bounce pass, turnover, but Martinelli won it back. It was in the hands of Enright. Martinelli took it. West, step back 3. Bricked it. Offensive rebound, Singleton. Jump ball. The possession arrow goes to Northwestern. I think Indiana kind of got a gift there. Nobody even had their hands on the basketball.
And again, this is under 2 minutes to go in a 2-point game, and there's just no effort on the glass. Now, Nick Dorn maybe got pulled to the floor, but Connor Enright was just there ball watching. And Northwestern just wants it more on the glass right now.
Another fresh 20 for a team that typically gets out-rebounded by 7 every night. They have 11 offensive rebounds in Bloomington. Page drives in on Alexis, now back outside the three-point line. Martinelli posts up. Mid-range jumper, got it to go. Nick Martinelli is assassinating the home crowd at Indiana. Northwestern leads by 4. Martinelli has 26, and there's 90 seconds to go. Connor Enright, frustrated, looking for a screen offensively, finds Wilkerson. To DeVries, shot fakes a 3. Now kicked it to Lamar. Lamar drives in, stripped away by Sheravino, and bailed out by a foul call across the forearm. It looked like a clean strip to me, but no argument from Angelo Sheravino, and that is huge for Indiana because it's a 1-and-1 opportunity, a chance to relax a little bit, and you send your best free throw shooter, Wilkerson, at 88% to the charity stripe.
Indiana has not made a field goal since the 10-minute mark of this second half. It's been nearly 9 minutes.
Wilkerson has just been extremely clutch in these final 2-minute free throw scenarios. The first one falls with ease. 3-point lead for the Wildcats of Northwestern. Yes, that's right. 2 for 2 from the line for Wilkerson. Indiana needs a stop right here, right now. $1:23 to go. Jake West will bring it up for the Wildcats. Chris Collins on the far sideline barking out orders to the Northwestern offense. The entire Indiana bench is standing. West guarded tightly by Enright. Now 12 on the shot clock. West on the drive, gives it to Martinelli. A mismatch with Enright. Martinelli into Enright. Left-hand jumper, got it on the fadeaway.
Every time they've called on him, he's answered. Martinelli is unbelievable.
Why is Indiana's point guard, Connor Enright, guarding Nick Martinelli at 6'7"? Timeout, Darren DeVries. Indiana trails by 4 with 48 seconds to go in this one.
He's unbelievable. This must have been what it felt like watching the Pacers pull out clutch wins time and time again in the NBA playoffs last year. Every time Martinelli is called on, he answers. It's ridiculous. And for Indiana now, 9:16 of game time without a made field goal in the second half. This is not a tournament team if you're going to no-show in stretches like this. If you can't find a way when your backs are against the wall, if you don't win this game, your chances of making the NCAA tournament go down the tubes pretty much. And they just have not found a way to show up. And credit to Northwestern because on the glass, you mentioned the offensive rebounds, 11 boards for Northwestern on the offensive end. They're outright rebounding Indiana by 11 overall. It's ridiculous. 32 rebounds to Indiana's 11 to Indiana's 21 for one of the worst rebounding teams in the Big Ten, taking Indiana's lunch money on the glass.
Indiana's got to score right now. If they can't capitalize, Northwestern third in the Big Ten. They shoot it at 74% from the free throw line. 48 seconds to go, inbound to Enright. Wilkerson comes up to set a screen. He now fades off the screen. Enright still meaningless dribbling beyond the arc. Finds Wilkerson, bounce pass, Alexis on the far block. The crowd barking orders, kick out. Connerway drives in the lane, rises, fades, and scores off the glass. 31 seconds to go. Indiana's going to have to foul or force a turnover. Page with it off the inbound. Martinelli gets it, driving down the far sideline. 24 seconds. Martinelli stripped away. Connerway took it away. Indiana, Enright finds Wilkerson, drives in the lane, rises up off the glass. Put back jam, no good. But Sam Alexis was fouled and hit the deck harder than anyone I've ever seen. Wilkerson's push shot from about 4 feet was just a little bit too strong. Alexis came soaring in and put his entire body on the line to even get a piece of it. Couldn't slam it home, but it looks like Sam Alexis has earned his way to the free throw line. What an effort from the Indiana center.
He whacked his tailbone on the ground, I think, as he landed. He is having trouble getting to his feet. Credit to Sam Alexis there, going up on the second chance, trying to get the putback dunk, but he came down hard. He paid the price for that. It looked like just a basketball play. It looked like a common foul. I think Trey Singleton got him from behind, but also I think Alexis kind of threw himself off balance going up for that. Landed really awkwardly on his backside, but
Alexis limps to the bench. The officials are now away from the monitor. I think you're right, Nick. Yes, it is a common foul.
It didn't look like a flagrant. It looked like Alexis threw himself onto the ground more than anything. Of course, the IU fans don't like it, but as we get another look at it, I mean, Wilkerson misses the layup. Alexis is there. Singleton just bumps him a little bit, but there's no malicious intent there.
Not at all. I mean, arguably, maybe not even a foul outside of just being in the landing area of Sam Alexis. So now the bruised up Sam Alexis has Indiana's team on his backside. 2 free throws with 16 seconds left. Alexis bounces twice, spins it in his fingertips, up and through. Nothing but net from the national champion from a season ago. But here's the big one, a chance to tie. Northwestern 2 timeouts left, Indiana with 1. Alexis, shot is up, off the back iron. Rebound goes to Jake West of Northwestern. He's fouled. Sam Alexis, 1 of 2 at the free throw line, walks to the other end with his head down. What an opportunity that was, Nick. This game is still very much manageable for Indiana. A one-on-one scenario for the freshman point guard out of Philadelphia, Jake West, 71% free throw shooter. West has the basketball, 14.5 seconds left. Dribbles it once, a deep breath, and the free throw is true. The freshman has played big tonight for Northwestern. He's up to 13 points.
And he averages 4 per game. West has... Martinelli's going to get his flowers as Aaron DeVries calls timeout. Martinelli's going to get his flowers, but Jake West has had a really big impact on this game as a true freshman playing on the road. He has more than risen to the task. Huge credit to him.
His 2 rebounds and assists to go with it, but Martinelli, 28 points, 12 of 21, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. Arrington Page has had a solid second half, but I think, Nick, the story is more about Indiana than anything.
24
Northwestern's
points
done
in the
what
second
they've
half.
done all year. They've
Yeah.
scored around 70 points. They've guarded you pretty well, but nothing that shouldn't result in a team the caliber of Indiana playing for what they are in this scenario.
Yeah, and you look at the lowest scoring second halves for Indiana. They're all between 20 and 25 points this season. 24 points in the second half for IU. I believe their lowest was 20 against Illinois on the road in that second half. And this is on par with that from an offensive perspective. And it's just the lack of communication, the mental mistakes, and now this second free throw would make it a 3-point game. If Northwestern misses, you can take it the length of the floor, get into the lane, and try to lay it in. At worst, maybe you get fouled, but you don't need a 3 if Northwestern misses this second free throw, although with the way this game is going, I don't know if you even want to think about overtime.
I think that Chris Collins most definitely had the conversation in the most recent huddle that if West is able to knock down this free throw and they go up by 3, are they going to foul or play it out? Everybody back into their spots, surrounding the painted area. Jake West, the man in the arena, the freshman out of Philly. Free throw is good. Northwestern by 3, timeout. Northwestern. And a right-hand tomahawk fist pump from the head coach, Chris Collins, who's 3rd in the Big Ten in wins in Assembly Hall, can smell number 5. He embraces his freshman point guard, Jake West. But Nick, oh my gosh, 14.5 seconds, and you hate to be cliche, but this might be Indiana's season right here.
Barring, you don't want to speak in terms of hyperbole. You don't want to exaggerate the situation, but if you lose this game, you have to beat Michigan State this weekend to have a shot, to have an outside chance. This is a game you had to have. Tournament. And there is still the Big Ten tournament, but Indiana has never won the Big Ten tournament. They have never fared well there, and IU fans know that has been well documented. Here, 14.5 seconds. You are one of your last 13 from the floor. I'd have to imagine Darren DeVries puts this in the hands of Lamar Wilkerson. Throughout the season, the philosophy has been just keep shooting. For Wilkerson, he is your sharpshooter. He is the Big Ten's best scorer. I feel like this game has to run through him right here.
Indiana trails by 3, 69-66, 14.5 seconds remain. Tucker DeVries will inbound on the baseline. Indiana has to go the length of the floor. DeVries can run the baseline. Connerway sprints up and catches it. Connerway approaching midcourt, Jake West guarding him. Connerway drives baseline, goes up, two-hand dunk up and through. Looking for a foul, so does Indiana. Jake West contested the dunk, no call. Northwestern by 1, 8.5 seconds left. Martinelli trying to pass it in, a foul before the inbound. Connerway bumped over Jake West, barks at the official. Darren DeVries teams up with him. Still a 1-1 situation here at the free throw line. Indiana is out of timeouts.
Looks like West maybe took a dive there. And, you know, ideally, IU fans will complain about the officiating. Ideally, Indiana does not get into a position where a questionable whistle maybe decides the game. Ideally. This is a Northwestern team that has won one road game on the road in conference play, and it was against Penn State. You understand the fans complaining, but this team could have been in a position to where a call like this didn't matter, but they played themselves with their backs against the wall now, and they have nobody to blame for that but themselves.
All right, Jake West, how many times have we said his name? The 6'3", 180-pound TikTok star, over 1.7 million followers on that platform coming out of high school, was a heavy recruit coming to Northwestern. This is a kid that likes all the eyes on him, and he has all of Indiana faithful and Assembly Hall staring down from the free throw line. 1-1 for West. He got it to go. What is new? That's 3 consecutive high-pressure free throws from the freshman guard.
This reminds me of Danny Wolf making a couple free throws to ice Michigan's win over Indiana last year. 70% shooter, but he came up clutch.
West 2 for 2 once again from the charity stripe, and Northwestern may foul here. 8.5 seconds left. Indiana trying to inbound. They get it to Wilkerson around half court. Wilkerson, hands off. DeVries chucks a 3 up. Double clutch, air ball, no call. And with 1.1 seconds left on the clock, a foul underneath. Arrington Page got fouled. Northwestern is going to walk out of Bloomington with a win on the road and take a huge stab at IU's tournament chances.
DeVries got hit on the arm.
Oh my gosh, he got hacked.
That's a foul. That is a foul. Unbelievable.
He double clutched the shot to draw the foul, and Anthony Cheravino pulled down the right arm of Tucker DeVries. First free throw from Page ices this one up and through.
That is
Northwestern leads by 4, and people are racing for the exits at the hall.
That is unbelievable. Darren DeVries should get himself ejected from this game. He should get himself teed up. He should get himself thrown out. That is unbelievable. That is a foul.
Page missed the free throw. Indiana inbounds with 1 second left. DeVries catches, rises, and did not get it off. Northwestern beats Indiana 72-68, and they punk the IU crowd as they exit the court. Oh my goodness, what a catastrophic night for IU basketball in late February.
Well, you had to win it. You didn't. Now you've got to upset Michigan State and win out. And I know people are going to complain about the officiating, but this is a game where Indiana should never have been in position to let the officials decide the game. And unfortunately for them, that's exactly what happened. And, well, this was a just awful, awful second half for Indiana. One of the worst second halves they played this season. They finished the game 2 of 15 from the floor. And if you're 2 of 15 from the floor, you have no room to complain about the officiating. I'm sorry, but no, that is an inexcusable loss for Indiana. This Northwestern team had nothing to play for, and still it looked like they wanted it more when the game mattered most in the second half, and just no effort from Indiana on the glass, no effort from Indiana on the defensive end, just putrid second half play by Indiana.
Indiana coming into this contest, they had back-to-back losses between Illinois and Purdue. They got out-rebounded by 28 rebounds. A Wildcat team who, on average, gets out-rebounded by 7 boards a game. That includes non-conference play. When teams like Northwestern and IU out of the Big Ten can beat up on opponents, well, Northwestern, guess what they did on the glass tonight? They out-rebound Indiana by 11. My, oh my, Mr. Rotacap, that is a tough one to swallow for IU, and I'm right there with you. I mean, just the basketball fanatic in me sits here and wonders how this crowd is going to leave here and how Darren DeVries is going to leave here. Yes, maybe upset about a couple calls.
You can't.
But
you
maybe
should never
scoring
let
68 points at home in a day and age of college basketball where you got to score 80 to win in this conference. Coaches like Mick Cronin, who have been around a really long time, have said that. and you let Northwestern shoot 50%. Their one score on this team goes for 28 in this contest, and you fall 72-68. That's enough from us. We'll be back for another WIUX men's basketball broadcast on Sunday. And man, if Indiana needed this one tonight, they need everything against Michigan State on Sunday. Cooper Schoenberg with the postgame show coming up on WIUX. Luke Brenneman, Nick Rodecap, we say so long and good night. A tough pill to swallow in Bloomington. Northwestern beats Indiana.